Hey everybody, it's Dan Sfera, www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Today we're just going to talk about what clinical trials are, why we do clinical trials to begin with, um, why it's important, why, what the purpose is for spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and these are the drug companies that I'm talking about. You know, why do they do that? How does the process work? I'm just going to try to tell you in as simple language as I can so that it's easy to understand for everybody. So for those academics out there watching, um, this may be not really what you're looking for, but it's still good information. So basically, when scientists think of a new medication or a new device or a new treatment for some kind of disorder, disease, condition, it usually starts off as an idea. And this idea usually is they come up with it because they understand molecular pathways. They understand the way certain molecules interact with the body and what effects that has. So they start testing it in the test tubes first, and once they kind of think about the treatment, in their minds, they will actually do it in a test tube, and then they'll test it on small cells in the tubes, and then they'll move on to animals. And these are done in these are called animal studies, and they usually do them on like guinea pigs. Um, I don't know exactly what kind of animals they use, um, but they're done on animals. And then basically, what they try to find out in animals is the basic side effects, and then they have to, of course, test the drug in humans. So that's when we start the phase 1 studies, which are for the healthy volunteers. And here we know very little about the drug except what it's expected to do in theory and what it has demonstrated to do in animals and also in the test tubes. So once they initiate a phase 1 study, they can have a better understanding of what it does in humans. And these are usually the healthy volunteer studies. And these are where the study participants usually take the greatest risk. So these studies pay a lot. They pay anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 for anyone who completes the study, and usually really selective about who can do the study. They're usually extremely healthy uh, people who are in perfect shape. I don't even think I would qualify for this, and I'm relatively young and relatively healthy. But I mean, you can't even have you can't even be considered overweight on the BMI scale, which most people would be overweight. So they're very selective in these phase 1 studies, but they pay a lot of money. However, these studies are riskier than the other clinical trials, the phase 1 studies, but the IRBs, which we've talked about before on this blog, and you can do a search for IRB, that's IRB as in boy, they look out for the study participants. So before a phase 1 study can be initiated in humans, the IRB reviews the protocol and they make sure that no humans will be put at unnecessary risk. Now, there's always going to be risks, but they won't be put at unnecessary risk. So all the safeguards are put in place to prevent anything tragic from happening to these volunteers. And we don't really hear too much about people dying from phase 1 studies. They may get some nasty side effects. They may feel lousy while they're in the study. Basically, they go rather smoothly. So then they move on to phase 2 studies, which if it passes phase 1, they understand the toxicity range for the drug. So they know that, you know, the maximum dose would be so many milligrams before most people start experiencing these kind of side effects. So they know their limit now, and they can actually test the drugs within that dose range on people who actually suffer from the medical condition that the drug is intended to treat. So phase 2 studies, they generally test for safety again, and also to see if the dose actually works in those people who suffer from that medical condition. Now you give me moving to phase 3, you're including a much larger population of people in the clinical trials, and basically safety is always important, so they're monitoring safety all the time, but these are usually long-term studies, which means 1 to 2 years, sometimes even more than 2 years, where the person will be in a clinical trial, and we have a lot of time to see exactly what the side effects are over that period of time, and also does the drug work. And usually there's a lot of people that join these trials. They usually enroll up to like several thousand people nationwide, sometimes worldwide in these trials. Then you have the phase 4 studies, which are the post-marketing studies. So if the drug does well in phase 1, 2, and 3, they can market it and it's already out in the market, meaning your doctor can prescribe it. But phase 4 clinical trials are there to kind of collect extra data, extra safety data, extra efficacy data to see if the drug works. And they're basically post-marketing studies. They're there to kind of see if people are responsive to it and if they rather use this drug than what's already out there. So these are what clinical trials are. This is basically the clinical trials process in a nutshell. And I've left a lot out, but that's basically what they are. And if you know this much, you know more than most people out there. So I'd love to hear from all of you. Was this helpful or not? Let me know. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you very much.